Well, hello there YouTube, how's it going? As you all know, we've recently had the first major update for No Man's Sky in 2021 in the form of companions. How awesome is that? Well, I'm here to give you some tips on how to make the most of your new companions, including adopting them, interacting with them, breeding them, and what you need to do when it comes to gene sequencing. It's almost like space Pokemon, right? Let's get to it! Before we crack on, why not hit that subscribe button so you never miss a No Man's Sky video. We may as well start at the logical place of adopting a new companion. There's only a couple of things you need to do in order to adopt a creature, and the first thing is feed it with a creature pellet. You can easily craft these from carbon. You also need to interact with it, so just give it some food and give it a pat on the head and then you can adopt it. Any previous advanced bait has been removed from the game with this update, so all you need now is some carbon for creature pellets. The maximum number of companions you can adopt is 6, and you automatically get 2 free companion slots, and in order to gain more, you're going to have to purchase them using Nanites. And as is normal with No Man's Sky, they get exponentially more expensive the more you unlock. The first will cost you around 500 nanites, and then it'll increase to 1000, then 5000, and finally 10,000 nanites. If you need a few extra nanites to afford these, I'll leave a link in the description of a video that I've done on how you can get yourself a few thousand nanites to help you unlock all those creature slots. On a side note, you're not able to adopt underwater creatures, flying creatures or bugs. This may change in the future, but who knows. The important thing when it comes to adopting creatures is not every creature of the same species is going to have the same stats. So you may want to adopt a couple of the same species, check their stats first and see which one you want to keep. For example, I adopted 2 of the same species and one of them had a higher helpful rating than the other. I kept this one and abandoned the other one because I'm a horrible person. But really I just wanted it to mine resources for me because I'm lazy. And also, shortly after this more helpful one decided it wanted to drop a piece of salvage data for me as a sort of gift, I guess? So that's an added bonus. Now once you've got a companion, interacting with them is a relatively easy task. Any companion you have can be summoned the same way you summon your starship or exocraft, even if you're on the Anomaly, but in this case it'll be a hologram. So you can see giant hologram creatures walking on the Anomaly now, which is pretty cool. And while your companion is roaming around with you on planets, its love and hunger meters are going to start to go down, so you're going to want to keep it loved and fed. All you need to do is give it some creature pellets and give it a good pat on the head and these should go up again in no time. Also want to keep these up because the higher they are, the easier it is for it to lay eggs. And who doesn't want more companions? Your companion will also have a trust level and this should go up over time as long as you look after it well, keep it loved and keep it fed. I can only assume if you don't keep it loved or keep it fed, this will go down. And finally, you can give your companions orders by pointing it to a direction so they can do things like mine resources for you, providing they're helpful and that you've put mining lasers on their shoulders, of course. Now moving on to breeding of companions. When you look after your companion, it can be induced to lay an egg. There are a few things you need in order for this to be allowed to happen. It must have a high love and a high fed levels, otherwise the option will probably be greyed out. Inducing an egg will take 24 hours, so don't expect them to get them immediately. Also, your companion must be old enough to lay an egg, and I believe this is around 5 to 8 real life days, so not No Man's Sky days. You must also either be on the companion's home planet or a planet with a very similar climate, so that you can find this out by using companion information, which climate is needed if you're nowhere near the one you adopted them on. Also, finally, you must own less than 6 eggs in order for a companion to lay an egg, because this is the maximum number of creatures that you can have at any given time. Companion's offspring will be almost identical to your companion, unless of course you decide to do gene sequencing, and this is where it starts to get a bit interesting. The egg gene sequencer can be found in Anomaly towards the back of the right hand side. This egg sequencer has 4 catalyst slots. These are growth hormone, gene splitter, dye injector and neural calibrator. Each of these 4 things can be charged up to 100% or 150% for the gene splitter, using a wide variety of resources you've collected whilst roaming the galaxies. Each different resource will charge each of the 4 slots for a different amount. So for example, it will take you over 400 units of carbon to get 100% dose, but only 14 units of gold. Doing this, you can also make your companion bigger or smaller. Now, who doesn't want a giant companion that you can ride around on planets, right? What I've read, the tallest creature can be about 12 meters tall, and that's pretty damn big. And finally, you can also give it different personality traits and change its colour depending on what you put in these slots. The egg sequencer will display 4 different statuses of the new creature: weight/height, anatomy, colouring, and personality. And these 4 things can have a few different states. The first one is inherited, meaning the creature's features will remain pretty much the same compared to its parent. The second one is unstable, meaning the feature can vary greatly from the creature's parents in terms of colouring and anatomy. And finally, it can either be increasing or decreasing, which means when a feature is slightly altered in the case of weight and height or its personality in comparison to its parent. In an ideal situation, you want a companion that would be 100% helpful and 100% independent, but I'm not sure how likely this is when you mess around with their genes. I'm pretty sure it's not very likely. A helpful companion will be more likely to do something useful when you pointed it to do something, whereas an aggressive one, for example, will likely attack other creatures. And who wants to break up fights with 2 giant companions, right? I'd rather have one that can mine resources for me and collect me salvage data. You can alter the colour of your new creature, and this depends entirely on which resources you plug into the sequencer. I won't go into which resources affect which colour because we're going to be here all day, but you can easily Google it and find an image which tells you which resources will give you which colours. And finally, an egg can be sequenced as many times as you like, so why not have a play around to see what you can come up with using a variety of different resources. And there you have it. That's everything you need to know about the latest companion update in No Man's Sky. How awesome is this update, by the way? I wanted to have a companion come around planets with me. Now, as always, if you found this video useful, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons so you never miss a No Man's Sky video. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.